Hello and welcome back, good people. So this will probably be my second to last video in this tutorial series of doing a little still life here in Pixlr online. So in this one I'm going to go ahead and tackle how you would go about coloring. I'm not done with my apple over here with the value grayscale, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to color. So I'm going to come over here to my layers and I'm going to add a new layer. It's going to be a empty layer, of course. And I'm going to go ahead and call this color. There we go. And I'll just switch to a quick brush. And one thing you can do is, of course, you can just go ahead, come over here and press I and sample the local color. Remember, the local color is the dominant color, the color that is seen most. And so if I start just brushing it in, you'll notice that it's completely opaque. You can't see through it. The solution, a lot of people think, is to come over to the layers and then lower the transparency or opacity in some other programs. But then you're going to lose the actual color. The real solution is to come right up here to what's called the blend mode. And there's a couple different ones that a lot of artists work. Multiply is a very popular one. In this case, you can see that it's going much darker. So I'm going to recommend not choosing that one. Another one is overlay. That's one of my personal favorites. And then there's also hard light and soft light. So you can go ahead and try those. But I would recommend that you try every single one. I'm going to go ahead and stick with overlay for now. Keep my transparency at 100%. Okay, and so now what I can do is I can just go ahead and start sampling some colors. Now, I can sample the colors from the actual apple here. But what I also like to do is I like to actually set up a little paint palette. So that way I can just kind of pick and choose over here. And it kind of brings me back to traditional painting. So I'm going to come over here and make one more layer. And I don't like to see this pop up every single time. So I'm going to say, don't ask me this again. Turn that feature on. And I'm going to say empty, just because that's what I want. And I'm going to rename this layer. It's just going to be called palette. Okay. And to set up my palette, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to sample a local color. And then just come up here and just find an empty space and just dab in a little dot. Now the cool thing is that Pixlr has, when you press the color sampler tool, you do get some nice color choices up here. So especially with shades, this probably should say values, but this is good too. And so now I could just pick on one of these here, press B, and then I could just go ahead and dot it in there. And so that works out really well. And so I can just come over here and grab some other ones. I usually tell my students to try to stay away from pure black and pure white. So even like right over here where the shadow is pretty dark, try to stay away from that. You can definitely use black and white, of course, but just reserve it for really those high values. Okay, so now I can just come on over here and I can just start going in. Whoops, wrong layer. Make sure I go back to my. Now, the way that the blend mode works here is that you draw it and then you have to wait a second, and when you lift up your stylus, then it's going to go ahead and then it's going to actually show it. So just give it a shot, and you can always change, just like we did with our values, you can always change the brush opacity a little bit, play around with it, maybe make it look a little more painterly, kind of like I did with the values here. And so that's pretty much it. It's really all about setting up your layer, setting the right blend mode, and then finding those right colors, sampling them, and then just coming in here and finding that magic opacity settings so that you can get kind of a blended, painted look. And just keep building up, building up, building up, and you'll get it. And the values, of course, underneath will, that's bumping up and boosting. That's your foundation for everything. Again, if you don't get the effect over here that you really are looking for, you of course can just be reminded, come back to the color picker, and you can sort of manually override. You don't have to be governed by the color image over there. So that is going to be it for this one. In the next video tutorial, it's going to probably be a really quick one. I'll go over just doing a little bit of cleanup, especially edge cleanup. That's pretty straightforward. I don't want it to look perfect, but I do want it to be a little cleaner than what I've got here. Maybe I'll do a little shadow, a little drop shadow underneath like this one has. And just kind of some finishing thoughts and comments. And so that'll be a quicker video. So that'll be coming up next. Okay, I hope this helps you out, and good luck.